What is the best format and content for a startup pitch or startup presentation? Well, what is the startup pitch or presentation? Well, generally it is a combination of visuals with a verbal delivery, whereby you are explaining the information that whoever you're pitching to wants to hear about your startup venture. Now, generally it's going to be 10 slides of visuals at most, and then at most 20 minutes of explanation. The reason it's truncated or short in this manner is the pitch is made to garner interest and explain the salient aspects of the business. If the parties listening to the pitch are interested, they'll schedule a follow-up meeting where they can get more information. So this is somewhat of a sales pitch in that it's trying to gain the interest and hopefully prompt a follow-up from whoever's hearing the presentation. Okay, so what you're trying to do here is give context to what you do in your business. Now, each of the slides is going to have key elements of information, which we'll identify momentarily. But the key element of the verbal portion is that you need to provide context for the information that's on the slide in the pitch deck. You need to make certain that it all makes sense, that it's a cohesive story from beginning to end, because remember, this needs to be persuasive. It's not simply delivering information. It is telling a story, providing context, answering questions, garnering interest, and then telling about a way that their interest, want, or need associated with your business, that is, hopefully they want to invest in your business, can be met. So it's a complete picture of where you stand and what the business is doing, how it's doing it, and what type of funding or value it's trying to raise. Okay, so what are you generally talking about and what information are you going to present? Generally, name of the company, the team involved, the individuals, their background. Once again, you're trying to inspire confidence that these individuals can carry out the business proposition. Which brings us to the business proposition. What is the value that the company delivers? What is the product or service? What is the need or want that it satisfies with a particular customer base? Who are your customers? What is the size of the market out there? How bad do they want your product? Are there secondary customer segments that potentially want your product? What's the business model, or how do you deliver that value and receive value back? How do you make money, basically? But it's a little broader than that. It's everything that goes into value delivery and receipt back, all the steps, processes for that exchange. Who else is doing this? Who are the competitors? What are the substitute products? What is your competitive strategy to compete with them? And what gives you an advantage over them in this competitive market? Your marketing plan. How are you going to reach customer, clients, or end user? How are you going to make people aware of what you're offering? How are you going to gauge feedback and develop the product from minimum viable product to a more develop product that specifically meets the needs of particular customer segments and clients? The marketing plan is extremely important because generally this is the most expensive part of growing a startup. It is the most difficult oftentimes because, once again, it's extremely difficult with all the noise out there to make people aware of your business venture. So having a detailed explanation of this is essential. Financials. What's it going to cost? How much money do you need? How are you going to use the money? What value is it going to bring in? You'll want to focus on things like growth relevant to spend. What's going to be your burn rate of capital, and how much growth is that going to create as you're spending the capital? And then what's the valuation you're ascribing to the company? Why is it worth this? And what are you looking for in terms of the equity raise? How much interest in the company are you looking to sell? If you have all of this information, it's going to answer the base questions that an investor would have, and they would obviously have detailed follow-up questions that hopefully would lead to a subsequent meeting and then later talks about an actual investment in the company. So generally this is what goes into a startup pitch and the content that you will talk about and have in your visuals.